What is anatomy and physiology? Anatomy is a study of structure and relationship between body parts. Physiology is a study of function of the body parts and the body as a whole. Our bodies are complex organisms and made up of trillions of cells. If you looked over our bodies from above and could see all the different parts separated and broken down into their simplest forms, you would call everything you see living systems. Living systems can be defined from various perspectives, from the broad, looking at our entire body as a whole, to the minute individual atoms. Each perspective provides information about how or why a living system functions. At the chemical level, atoms, molecules, combinations of atoms, and the chemical bonds between atoms provide the framework upon which all living activity is based. The cell is the smallest unit of life. Organelles within the cell are specialized bodies performing specific cellular functions. Cells themselves may be specialized. Thus, there are nerve cells, bone cells, and muscle cells. A tissue is a group of similar cells performing a common function. Muscle tissue, for example, consists of muscle cells. An organ is a group of different kinds of tissues working together to perform a particular activity. The heart is an organ composed of muscle, nervous, connective, and epithelial tissue. The heart is an organ composed of muscle, nervous, and connective tissues. An organ system is two or more organs working together to accomplish a particular task. The digestive system, for example, involves the coordinated activities of many organs, including the mouth, the stomach, the small and large intestines, pancreas, and liver. An organism is a system processing the characteristics of living things, the ability to obtain and process energy, the ability to respond to environmental changes, and the ability to reproduce. Homeostasis. A characteristic of all living systems is homeostasis, or the maintenance of stability, internal conditions with specific limits. In many cases, stable conditions are maintained by negative feedback. So basically, your stable equilibrium, your body's default system, if this is altered in any way by your environment and how you treat your body, self-abuse, for example, then this is the reason why you could find it harder for your body to act normally. E.g., if you consumed, say, too much sugar in your diet, you become diabetic and you will alter homeostasis because your pancreas will not produce enough beta cells to control blood sugar. Anatomic terminology in order to accurately identify areas of the body. Clearly defined anatomical terms are used. These terms refer to the body in the anatomical position. Standing erect, facing forward, arms down by the side with the palms turned forward. In this position, the following applies. Directional terms are used to describe the relative position of one body part to another, all shown in this diagram. Body planes and sections are used to describe how the body or an organ is divided into two parts. Sagittal planes divide a body or organ vertically into right and left parts. If the right and left parts are equal, the plane is a mid-sagittal plane. If they are unequal, the plane is a parasagittal plane. A frontal coronal plane divides the body or organ vertically into front, so split me up this way, anterior, and rear, posterior. Okay, everything behind me is posterior, in front of me is anterior. A horizontal transverse plane divides the body or organ horizontally into top, superior, and bottom, inferior. This is also known as a cross-section. Body cavities are enclosed areas that house organs. These cavities are organized into two groups. The posterior or dorsal body cavity includes the cranial cavity, which contains the brain, the vertebral cavity, which contains the spinal cord. The anterior ventral body cavity includes the thoracic cavity, which contains the lungs, each in its own pleural cavity, and the heart in the pericardial cavity, and the abdominopelvic cavity, which contains the digestive organs in the abdominal cavity, and the bladder and reproductive organs in the pelvic cavity.